Here are my first third leaf plants. See right there, there are 3 leaves. 1, 2, and 3, plus the cotyledons. And I think I have one more of those. Here we are. And this guy right here is also one. You got 1, 2, and 3, plus the cotyledons. So those are the first 2 seed leaf plants, and those are, that's 2.5A and 2.7A. These are the fertilized, irrigated, 2-inch deep plants. And I don't think I have, but maybe one other 3-leaf might be down here or something. Just barely. Yeah, this one. Just barely. One just starting to open 2, plus the cots. So that's what I got. And this is the fertilized. This is 312D of all things. Here we are in the cotton field, and as you can see, I have just hilled all of the rows, and that is because I am about to irrigate. I'm going to be irrigating everything today because it has been dry for quite a while, and it's predicted to be dry for even more quite of a while. So I need to water this stuff. That's not in line with my experimental procedure, but I'm more concerned with getting enough seeds in order to replant next year than I am with whether or not irrigation makes a difference, because, you know, I'm pretty sure it does. I'm just sort of doing this for the sake of doing it so I can say with absolute certainty, but, you know, irrigation will make a difference. Fertilizing will make a difference. I'm just trying to figure out the scale. So I'm going to be irrigating these, and these deeply, and I irrigated both rows 1 and 2 yesterday quite deeply. You can still see some wetness up here in the soil, but that's just what I'm doing. I'm just getting some water on these so they don't dry out. And what these hills do is they make my application of water far more efficient. This forces the water deeper. It forces it into these trenches and then under the hill, rather than just right on top of here where it runs off and then runs off the side of the bed. So forming these hills and trenches forces the water into the soil, and it reduces the surface area that the water is applied to and reduces the amount that evaporates, so more water gets down into the soil where the cotton can get to it. At least that's what I hope. It also prevents erosion. Like I said, it will keep the water in that trench. It won't run off the side and carry with it soil and, you know, just waste water that doesn't go to the cotton. So, I guess I'm gonna get pumping. I have now watered all the rows with 3.5 gallons each. As you can see, the hills did exactly what I wanted them to, for the most part. Kept all the water within the hill, and as the hill dissolved, it filled back in the trench, and then we have a mostly level row again. Although I do want to retain the hills around the cotton because it helps protect cotton, like, say, this one, from being blown over in the wind. But that's the way the cookie crumbles. That's the way the pile of the dirt erodes when you dump a bunch of water on it. So I'm just gonna have to live with that. I'm gonna have to reform these hills and trenches every time that I water, just to keep it from eroding. But I'll probably only water these guys once a week when I don't have rain during the week. That's probably the procedure I'm going to go with, and I'm going to continue deeply watering these. Before I was not deeply watering them, just because I didn't think it was necessary, but I'm going to start doing that now, and that's definitely going to have to be a thing once the plants start reaching maturity. So I'm back out at the cotton. I just watered everything again. Luckily, it looks like it's going to rain a little bit this weekend, which I am hoping on, but just as insurance, I've watered rows 3 and 4 again with 1 can, and rows 1 and 2 with about 2 cans each. Just wanted to let you look at the cotton a little bit. So this is 312, and here is 311. These are probably the best looking spaces out of the whole lot. Sorry, did I say 3? That's 212 and 211. And over here, It's 312, which is the best looking one out of the non-irrigated rows. And down yonder, this is 3-6, and this is 3-6A, this plant here. And as you can see, it's got auxiliary buds. The reason why this cotton has auxiliary buds is, for whatever reason, the terminal bud died, and so it never produced a second leaf after this first leaf. This is one of the first plants to produce a first leaf, but it didn't produce a second, even though it was doing well. And that's because it had lost its terminal bud. So it had to develop both of these auxiliary buds on the side of the stem. So technically, this is our first auxiliary bud, which is when I would like to say we're entering the bush stage of the plant, before, in between seedling and flowering. But since this is a weird case, I'm not going to count it. I think I'm not going to count bush stage until I see a true auxiliary bud and a true leaf. And by true leaf, I mean one that looks like how it's supposed to, not just a leaf that's, you know, not a cotyledon. Because you see these, they're very simple. They're cordate and almost ovate in shape. Whereas the true leaf should be 3 to, I think it's eventually gets 5 lobed. And if you look down in here at these fourth leaves, you can see they have a couple of palmate lobes to them. Let me see if I can find a better one. That one's messed up. That's not doing it. That one's pretty good if I can focus on it. It's that fourth leaf down in there. It looks to be lobed a bit. So that's what I'm hoping for. That's it for this update. Just some more advancements in seedling maturity, more leaves. I've got 1/4 leaf over there on a very scrawny plant on row 4. But other than that, everything else is 3rd leaf or below. I had 3 more seedling deaths this week, all from dehydration, so I'm going to really need to stay on point with irrigation, even for these. Where are those plants? See, here's one right here that dried up. It's just a stick. And right here is another one that is in the process of turning into a stick. And all the way down yonder is another one that broke before it became a stick. So I'm gonna have to keep on top of that. Well, it is saving me a bit on thinning. I'd rather these plants thin themselves out naturally, because they're just not the most fit plants, because that helps me with seed selection. But they probably would have get manually thinned out by myself anyway, because, you know, they would have been the scrawny and weak looking ones in the space. I think the next thing I'm going to probably show you as far as vegetative development goes is going to be either thinning whenever I get to that. That's going to be sometime this month, or whenever I have those first true lobed leaves. So until next time, time out. Also, I don't know how well you'll be able to see this, but we have a titmouse nesting in this bluebird box. Let me see if I can show her to you. I don't think you can see that, but I'm not going to bother her, because I opened that this morning to verify whether or not she had a nest. She was in there, and she got really, absolutely pissed. And she was in there flapping and hissing and spitting.